All right, welcome back, everybody. Sorry for the slight delay. Hopefully, the stream is going to be a little bit less laggy at this point. And we are about ready to get on into the next game. Please, of course, in the chat, let me know. Keep me updated with any sort of lag that you're getting, during what kind of lag as well, because it's very helpful to know if it's like big lag spikes or if it's just tiny little glitches. Sometimes there's little audio lags that jump every like 10 seconds. And there's different ways to, of course, fix all the different lag. And sometimes you just can't. Sometimes it's Twitch. Like I said, I was getting 0 drop frames. So if I'm dropping a lot of frames, that's on my end. But sometimes I don't even see that. So yeah, it can still be kind of difficult to figure out. But with that being said, Dust has decided their next player.
Yep. It's going to be SWS.
Yes, it is.
Protoss players. We're going to have another PvP, and I actually really like that because, I really like PvP. And actually, the map is going to be MLG Antigua Shipyard, which, funny enough, is another really fantastic Blink Stalker map.
Yeah, so it's possible. There's two possibilities I feel like that we could really see out of SWS. Possibility number one is that SWS goes for Blinkstalkers of his own and thinks he can just out Blinkstalker Young. Possibility number two is that SWS is almost taunting or inviting his opponent to go for the Blinkstalker again, saying, hey, I know you like Blinkstalkers. How about an amazing map for it? And then he might have some great counter build to it. Some great robo opener or something like that to go ahead and play against it. So definitely a lot of mind games going into this game, or into this match, I should say. And we are going to go ahead and jump right on into the game as it is just getting started. So let's see, Clarity Young, yes, they are set in the right positions here, spawning down in the bottom right-hand corner. We do have SWS, he's going to be for Team Dust. It is tied up 2-2. He needs to get a win to bring it to the 3-2 in his team's favor, but he is going to be going up against Young, who just won the last PvP, is probably feeling pretty good right now. The red Protoss spawning up in the top left-hand corner of Antigua Shipyard.
Yeah, and you say he's feeling pretty good, but there's another side to it that we have to look at, and that's the fact that his Protoss versus Protoss is kind of, a little bit of his weaknesses and strengths has been revealed.
Yep.
He played out a pretty close game that, all in all, he played it out on a Blinkstalker heavy map, which both Cloud Kingdom and Antigua Shipyard are. So a little bit of Young's playstyle on even this map will have been revealed, as well as just the fact that you can see, were there any errors in his micro, or how about, is his macro very strong? Does he tend to cut probes around this point? So a lot of those things could actually be very vulnerable if SWS was able to pick up on them, as I know he was, in fact, tuning into the stream. So I'm really curious to see what SWS is actually going to end up throwing out.
Yeah, and I'd really like to note, in that last game, I think one of the weaknesses that we saw from Young that SWS might try and take advantage of was his making of probes consistently, even when his opponent had not expanded. So that's something that, I have watched numerous PvPs. I've played a lot of PvPs as well. But for the most part, when I watch top Protoss PvP games, a lot of it comes down to if one player can fool the other player into thinking they're expanding, and then not, even if they're still making units, everything like that is going on. If the player does not cut those probes, it can just be absolutely deadly, simply because the probe, you're just investing more and more into the economy, and those little bits make a difference. What we did not see in that last game, or what was fortunate for Young, is his opponent waited a long time to attack. So he let that second base get to the point where it started to be profitable and not just a sink of money. And at that point, Young kind of had the game won. He was able to secure it. He's able to get up into that good position.
Yeah, and as we actually start to jump into the later stages of the game, and we transition into the mid game, we actually end up seeing that SWS is starting to build up quite a bit, or actually has been utilizing all of his Chrono Boost, whereas Young has been saving up all of his Chrono Boost. So this is kind of interesting. This could actually be potentially a 4-gate coming out from Young, as he even did a gas steal.
Yeah, so at the very least, it looks like a 4-gate. And that right there is enough for SWS to have to prepare a little bit, right? He's going to open up with the 3-stalker opening, so that is definitely a safe opener. Against this sort of style, against a 4-gate, you can do the 3-stalker rush. But, you know, he did get gas stolen as well, so he didn't have a Zealot out to take that down, so now he's going to have to wait until the Stalker gets there to take it down. Just a little bit more of a nuisance. I like that choice by Yang to see no Zealot and to go ahead and steal that gas.
All 4 gateways thrown down for Yang.
Yep.
He has all that chronos being devoted to that 7-air score, has a Zealot and a Stalker out, and making that second Stalker. This is looking so much like a 4-gate.
Yeah, I would say 4 gates is definitely looking like a 4 gate. Very good call, my friend. And here SWS going to send a probe around, but he's not going to scout the Zealot Stalker that's charging over. But will this probe drop a pylon? Will he just get into the base? What exactly is going to be his intentions here? As the Stalker is now going to continue to focus on this assimilator instead of poking out to try and defend against the 4-gate. I don't like this decision by SWS whatsoever. I feel like those 3 Stalkers need to be on active patrol trying to find pylons in that Stalker Zealot composition, but instead he's not, and the pylon's going to finish up, and if Yang just moves right up into this base, which he will, he can get a warp in right on the high ground, 4 units instantly, and oh, this is going to be definitely a scary time here for SWS.
Yeah, and I just want to really quickly note that SWS does have his own proxy pylon set up over the natural expansion. But in the meanwhile, we see probes being pulled for SWS, so I don't even know if he's going to be able to take advantage of that. He's sitting on 3 gateways versus 4 gateways. A ton of probes have already gone down. We can see that actually SWS is down to just 17 probes, so this is going to be such a difficult hold.
Yeah, and here we have 4 Zealots warping in here for Yang, and of course the longer that he goes with this, the better position he's in, as he has ahead 3 probes, so he will have the slight economy advantage and the unit composition simply because he's 4 gate versus 3 gate, so he's just going to have that extra warp in every time when he needs it. More units being warped in here for SWS, so he's doing a good job at least of holding this. He's getting a lot of probes pooled to deal with this, but I mean, Yang is doing some very decent damage. He's now going to continue to warp in, and with this he will definitely take over the army composition lead. He's going to start pushing forward to go after these Stalkers and start focusing them down, and SWS not even microing his Stalkers anymore. It looks like he is just going to be forfeiting this game as he gets caught with his 3 Stalkers in the base, killing off the gas, and GG from SWS. Yang going to take this game. Wow. Beautiful 4-gate. I mean, you see 4 gates, yeah, right? And you see PvP 4 gates, and you're like, ah, blah, blah, blah. But, like, I loved the gas steal. I loved the... You know, it was just great, and he just completely caught SWS off guard. He just completely caught him in that sort of strange, like, wait, what am I doing here? Oh yeah, oh crap, these guys need to be out there defending and picking off the pylon in that Zealot Stalker, and they weren't, and that right there sealed it for Yang. So he goes up 3-2 now, 1 more win, and he will seal it for his team. Dust needs to come back and tie this 3-3.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to say, 4-gate, yeah, there was a point in time, a very long point in time, where 4-gate was just dominating the Protoss vs. Protoss metagame, but Protoss have gotten kind of greedy, I have to say, as of late. I mean, they've been trying to get away with a lot, and that just kind of goes to show that SWS just wasn't expecting the 4-gate at all. He kept those 3 Stalkers over at home just to take out the assimilator, because he said, you know what, I just want to be able to tech up. He probably just stole the gas because, you know, he wants to delay my teching up to get whatever teching. He's going to try and do some heavy teching of his own. That's just the way that Protoss play these days. And, you know, he gets caught off guard, doesn't notice that there is a proxy pylon being built at the bottom of his ramp, doesn't actually get any of those free shots in, could have actually even maybe picked off that Stalker that tried to poke up the ramp a little bit earlier. And then if he was able to do that, he stops warp ins up on the high ground, maybe gets a sentry out immediately, and maybe holds. So, but I mean, ultimately I have to say, as you kind of said, beautifully executed by Yang, and just a great metagame play.
Yeah, I mean, it was. And at the same time, in the last game that we saw where he went for Blink Stalkers, he opened the exact same way. He made it look like that 4-gate, and then as soon as he left, he went ahead and threw down that gas, and, you know, then he went into the Blink Stalker build. So this time, he did that same style. His opponent left the base with that probe, or I think the probe got killed. And he was like, all right, he's probably going Blink Stalkers again. And so he probably was, you know, just planning on that happening, and instead he went for the 4-gate and just absolutely hit him and crushed him. So we're getting half and half with the internet. Half the people say it's been fine. The other half say it's still lagging. So I don't know what to tell you. I'm doing everything I can.
I know what I can tell you guys, actually. 2 things. One, it really sucks that yes, we are actually not partnered on Twitch TV just quite yet, and we're actually looking to try and get that to happen. So
Yep.
some of the ways that you guys can help that out, and actually what this actually means for you guys is that you'll have those ability and the option to say, 360p, 240p, 480p, 720p. You get to pick those things if you go ahead and subscribe. It really helps us to move forward toward that Twitch partnership, as well as also just I mean, catching the videos. We actually have all the videos being uploaded over at youtube.com/urgamingtv. So if you unfortunately have a little bit of lag going on and you miss a little bit of it, you can go ahead and catch that over there. And I think we also just leave the videos up on our Twitch channel for a while. So you can also check that out on the Twitch page.
Yeah, so I will try to be as delicate with the camera, but like you said, you know what, you can just press the follow button right here, very easy to do, and of course that helps us get towards the, what, sponsor, the Twitch partnership, excuse me,
Yeah.
which allows for 720p, which just allows for everything to be better. So definitely, just follow here, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. I do apologize for the lag. I'm doing everything I can, trying to restart the stream. So I'm really gonna try and make it as an enjoyable of an experience as possible, even if there's gonna be a little bit of lag. Sometimes it's just things that we can't control. Sometimes it's internet in the area. Sometimes it's on your end. Sometimes it's Twitch. So we're doing everything possible. And with that being said, is Dust sending? Dust
So we're gonna
is
see, yeah,
figuring out who
who's
they want to
next.
send up against Yong.
I have to say, don't send out another Protoss player against Young. That his PvP, like we
Yeah.
were talking about, oh well, Cloud Kingdom is similar map to Antigua Shipyard. We could be seeing similar styles of play and all that kind of stuff. You know what? Young just says no, just gonna 4-gate.
Yeah.
You can't, you cannot expect that. And then what's left? I mean, there aren't a whole lot of other maps left that are really fantastic for Blink Stalker. I mean,
Nope.
Ohana is out, Cloud Kingdom is out, Antigua Shipyard is out. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like the next game that you could see Yang go for a completely different style, and I don't feel like there's a whole lot that you could have learned from that. So you know what? Just don't send out another Protoss player. Go for something else.
Yeah. I feel like we've seen, and even though they were definitely, kind of like heavy hitting PvPs, right? He went for the 4-gate. He went for the Blink Stalker all in. I don't know. I feel like he's got something else up his sleeve as well. And like you were saying, try something else out.
He seems like a sneaky player.
Yeah,
I'm
he seems
pretty
like a
sure
sneaky player.
He is. I actually wouldn't even be too surprised if he had some really cheeky build plan for this next game. I mean, this is one of the points where you're like, you're up a game,
Yep.
and
You can take a
we've
risk.
seen Yang not be. I mean, he's very much willing to go for one of those kind of surprise, like 4-gate all in. You haven't seen this for a little bit, have you? So, I mean, we could definitely see him say, you know what, we're up a game. I can just do something really crazy. I could do something really funky. He could go for a 3-gate proxy Stargate all in against the Terran. He could go for, I don't even know. Okay, I'm pretty sure. I'm just gonna put this out there right now. If he's going up against a Zerg, just
Immortal Sentry all in? Is that what you're gonna
Yeah,
say?
don't even try and play cheeky over there.
Yeah, that's one of those things where you don't have to hide it. You can just say,
Yeah.
Parting said, "Hey Sen, I'm gonna Mortal Sentry all in you 3 times in a row. You're gonna scout it with your Overlord every time, and I'm still gonna 3-0 you." So it's one of those just super strong. And yes, it is me. Hello, Hermit the Second. How are you doing? We can do this while they're about to host the game here, so we'll see what map they do decide. Forgot to put these up. I do
It
apologize.
actually looks like they're going to send out Dust Tia, and
Yes.
Tia, according to at least their StarCraft profile, is in fact a Zerg player. So we might be seeing a Protoss versus Zerg, and I mean, bring
Yep.
up that Immortal Sentry all in, because you have to address it at this point. It has become such an ingrained part of the metagame that you have to think about it. But the map is going to be MLG and Tomb Valley. What are your thoughts about that?
Entombed Valley, interesting choice. Generally, as a Zerg player, I'm not the biggest fan of Entombed Valley, simply because it just allows for the Protoss to grab that very quick 3 base, and they can, of course, make a lot of super strong 3 base pushes against their opponent. So, Dust is sending out a Terran, they're saying. So even though according to his profile, he's a Zerg, he's actually a Terran player. All right, so it's going to be PVT instead, and that makes more sense to me. I was going to say, I don't feel like we would have seen a Zerg choose Entombed Valley in that setup. I mean, I have seen it before, but I don't think it's too common.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? I think one thing about Entombed Valley is that it is, of course, very easy to secure a third base for a Protoss player, so that's what kind of makes me curious about this decision. I mean, what kind of things could a Zerg player be planning for this?
What kind of things could a Zerg player be playing? Zerg player? This is a Terran player.
Oh wait, it's a Terran player. Okay, so I guess the profile is just...
Yes, the profile is misleading. That's what I was getting at. All right, so Tia is actually going to go by the name of Finalize. So let us, if we make that mistake, I do apologize. No alive. All right, yeah, we're good. All right, already. So we are going to hop on into this game very shortly. Very excited. This could be it, everybody, if Yang can clean it up. However, could Finalize come back, tie it up 3-3, and then put himself in a position to go ahead and make it a game of 7, the ace match. I mean, I love watching great playoff games like this. This is what the playoffs is about. You know, you're not going to have that 4-0 all the time. You know, that's really rare to see. A lot more times you're going to see 6 games, 7 games, somebody winning 4-3, somebody winning a 4-2. Just, you know, those are just the games that you're going to see in the playoffs because everybody has so many great players.
Yeah, and honestly, just really quickly before we jump into the game, please go ahead and vote over at xanderfever.tv/vote. I'm going to actually just tell you guys, I'm actually going to be voting for, well, actually, I'm going to get the voting actually set up, but I'm going to be voting for Tia just because I want to see a game 7.
Yeah. Finalize. We're going by the name Finalize. Let us remember. But yes, I don't know.
Yes.
I would love to, of course. Oh man, I have to. No, I did change it up there. Let us see. So it should be changing up top, I do believe, but we are going to go ahead and do the introductions really quickly, and then I'll hopefully get it fixed. I have to invert this really quickly. And is it all set up now? I believe so. So spawning down in the bottom left-hand corner, we're going to have Dust Finalize needs a win. Otherwise, his opponent up in the top left-hand corner, the red Protoss Yang of Team Clarity, might be able to take this away. It is TVP. The map is Entombed Valley. I'm excited, and I don't know who's going to win this. Honestly, no clue. I've seen Tia play once before, I do believe, and I think it was a strong performance. I cannot remember if it was a win or loss, but I remember the name, and when you remember a name, generally that player played really well, just because we casted a lot of players.
Yeah, and I mean, what are your thoughts about just specific to the races of Protoss and Terran on this map? I know that one thing as a Protoss player myself that I really dislike about this map is the ability for a Terran player to move in with a drop over to my natural expansion and then immediately be able to just pick up and go over into my main base, and also just the darting back between my main base and my third base with the drops. So drops are just a scary prospect for me as a Protoss player. What do you think about that, and what could a Terran player be afraid of?
I mean, as you were saying, I think you are dead on, and I think that's why Finalize chose this map. I think Finalize was sitting there saying, you know what, I love dropping in between the natural and the main, and then dropping in between the main and the third base. We actually saw that just recently. Who was it? It was Creator versus Bomber. Bomber was down 80 supply to about 110, 115, something like that. He charged over with 4 medevacs, a group of Marines and Marauders, and with some beautiful split of his army. He was dropping in between the main and the natural and the third and just doing so much damage. He faked out going to the main, then went back to the third, pulled Creator's army out of position. I mean, just do it. I mean, you can do it. This is the map for that. That being said, what does the Terran have to be scared of? Well, of course, the Terran has to be scared of the fact that the Protoss player can get up 3 bases, on this map. It is very simple to grab those 3 bases. You can very easily defend them. I feel like there's not a ton of space between them all. So if you get some Blink Stalkers and maybe a couple cannons on some edges, you can defend those very well. And if you do that, then of course you can just kind of make some sort of big three base push, possibly go for some sort of charge lot Archon hit off of three bases. I know that's kind of a strong timing that I've seen before, and I don't know. We'll have to see what exactly is decided. But look at this, Yang not expanding yet. But at the same time, does he know? No, he does not. So his opponent did block him off, so he doesn't know if his opponent has expanded. So I guess he doesn't want to be as risky with that expansion yet, and getting out a sentry now as well. He does have two gases. I wonder what he's going to throw down right now. Is it going to be a robo?
Yeah, and I mean, you might be thinking like, well, I see Protoss players do this all the time, but actually and then they immediately just go expand. Well, you can actually see that Yang is mining off of three guys in both those gas guys, as opposed to a lot of the other pros that will end up going for two guys in each gas geyser. I kind of like to call it the Naniwa build, just because I see Naniwa do it a lot.
Yep.
But I mean, we see Yang poking up over at the front, sees the bunker, so is probably going to be expecting that expansion. But this is exactly that kind of cheeky style that I was talking about from Yang. We're going to see a one gateway robotic facility, and he could actually just go in with a couple, maybe one or two immortals and a bunch of sentries, and just see if he can do the damage.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible. He's still got the probe in the middle of the map here, so he could go drop a pylon down and just try and push up that ramp, do a ton of damage, like you were saying, get the immortals out, get the sentries. He has an observer he's chrono boosting out right now, of course, to get a little scout on his opponent's base. And if you look at his opponent, what is Finalize doing? Throwing down 5 barracks. There is no gas yet, though, so this is going to be pure Marines. So you know what? If he gets up maybe a little bit of a stalker wall behind her, if he can kind of get some nice force fields off and just block those Marines in, no combat shield, no stem, I mean, that could put Finalize in a very difficult situation.
Yeah, but we actually see that Young is going for that expansion now, so it looks like it's just a delayed expansion, but I still feel... I mean, what is he doing with this robotic facility? He does have that observer out, so he's going to be able to obviously scout out his opponent, but just having had his expansion so much more delayed than his opponent, I feel like he has to put on some form of pressure, or at least go for a very fast third. But with Finalize going for this very barracks-heavy aggression, or, I mean, potential aggression, as he's moving out across the map, I feel like that might not actually work out too well for him.
Yeah, and what I would like to see right now is Finalize knows that there is no gas. He knows it's all barracks making Marines. I would love to see him warp in another round of Stalkers right now and then just push out with these Stalkers and just kite Marines all over the place. I have seen that happen many times before, and the Terran player just gets devastated. But look at this. Marine SCV all in. The probe, I do believe, scouted it, so more sentries warped in. He's going to be able to force field off that ramp at least the first time. And is Finalize going to be able to push up and do the damage necessary? As the force field does go down, he traps about half the units. I love that choice right there. Able to block out the rest. They're going to try and sneak in, but they're sneaking in one at a time. And I'm not sure Finalize can do too much right there. He's going to have to back off, and I don't think he can push in with this army.
You know what the really funny thing is? That actually Finalize is not that far behind in workers right now. He's only behind by 3 workers, and I mean, those 3 workers are actually with the army of Finalize. So behind all this, he still has his natural expansion, also has the advent of those mules, and is actually going for a 3rd command center. So as crazy as that seemed, I don't actually think he's maybe as far behind as you might expect.
Right, so I don't think he's terribly behind, but if he tries to push up yet again here, he definitely could be if he gets those units trapped. Instead, he backs off. He gets gas back at home. He gets a 3rd command center. I like this choice. You know what? He tried to push in, tried to catch his opponent but a little bit off guard. Didn't quite work. The probe at the Zelnaga saw everything charging over, and that was definitely helpful for Yang right there. So he's able to hold, able to kind of continue to add immortals, kind of build up this nice little army. I'd like to see him possibly start a 3rd base soon, as he knows his opponent has been stuck on those Marines, really. So nothing too strong that he could really punish Yang for. And we'll see what exactly he does decide, as he does throw in a couple more gateways right here.
Yeah, he's throwing out a couple more gateways. It started finally mining out of those 3rd and 4th gas guys. So he's going to have that huge gas influx actually start also teching up. And I mean, with that robotic facility already done, he could go... I mean, what do you think about a play with a faster robotics bay, get up maybe 2 or 3 Colossus, and just make a 2-base timing push with that?
I mean, I would definitely love to see that. It looks like he doesn't even want to wait until then. He knows his opponent is stuck on those Marines. He's going to have to be careful. That is a lot of Marines, but if he can get a force field sandwich right there, I think he could do a ton of damage. He's going to drop down
Uh-huh.
the forward pylon. Observer is going to get some vision right here. Can he pick off some free Marines? Yes, he can, as he traps some of them. And very nicely done. He's going to be able to kill off about a third of that army for free, only losing nothing, I think, actually, right there. SCV is going to have to be pulled as well. Yong waiting for this pylon to finish up so he can get another warping of units. And Finalize just going to back up into his main. He knows he has no chance of defending against this right now.
He just says, nope, I'm not going to risk it. I'm not even going to take a chance that I'll lose all those SCVs and that expansion. So he just lifts up. He's going to be losing a couple of supply depots, but I mean, losing supply depots in a refinery is better than losing the game.
Yep. And I mean, beautiful move right here by Yong. I love this because he's completely punishing his opponent, as we saw. Finalize trying to be greedy as ever right there, taking that third command center, just getting pure Marine, not getting gas for so long. And here the Immortal's going to tear away at this bunker. It will fall. He's going to trap in more Marines at this point. Yong continuing to do damage. He can warp in again very shortly to reinforce with this army if he chooses. And I mean, here he's just going to continue to force field some units of Finalize, and the supply warp prism flies in. The turret will pick it off, so I do love the turret placement right there. That's definitely going to be helpful. And here he's going to try and push up force fields all around the bunker. Beautifully done, going to kill off all the Marines. Has Yong done it? How's he sealed this for Team Clarity? Finalize pulls all of his SCVs, going to try and do whatever he can. Mules charging over as well. They can't do too much. Force fields do go down. And that's it. GG, well played. Yong takes it. Clarity takes this 4-2.
Wow, I mean, I did not expect that at all, but I mean, really well played by both of those players. I actually thought that Marine pressure was just going to do a substantial amount of damage from Finalize, and Finalize made it look so scary, especially pulling all those SCVs, but just fantastic force fields from Yong. I mean, could not have asked for better force fields, being able to pick apart that army, hardly losing any units in those engagements, and in the end, Yong just showing, you know what? This force field micro is just a little bit too good.
Yeah, and I mean, that was such a beautiful play by Yong, a beautiful turnaround, a beautiful scout. I mean, he did everything right. There was nothing that I could sit there and be like, oh, you know, he should have done this better. Like, that was so well done. A great PVT by Yong right there, and a great match by Clarity, as they take it, even though they had that one little slip up with Junto, who unfortunately disconnected due to leaving his power cord in Sweden. So, yeah, unfortunate for them, but you know what? Doesn't matter in the end. They still advance. They still move on, and if we go to yourgaming.net, if you go there as well, you can check out, of course, the bracket, see who's in the playoffs, and kind of see, you know, what exactly is going on there, what the action is like, and who are they going to play. Let us look right now. So from that, Clarity moves on to play .SCA.
That's going to be an interesting match, as I mean, all those teams have shown to be really, really strong, and .SCA has been one of those teams that was actually seeded just because they were one of the top teams in their group, so that's going to be a fun match to see, but I am really curious to see just, I mean, how that game is going to go. And actually, this is the last set from this entire round, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So with that, we can actually pop on over. Who won the Lightverse FLC? That just happened a couple of hours ago, I do believe. I'm not sure who the victor was, but let me take a quick screen region shot here for everybody.
But yeah, I just want to say, really fantastic job by both of those teams. I mean, both Clarity and Dust played really fantastically, and we had some really awesome games, and also there's some really mannered players, especially with Parker, you know, being honest enough to say, you know what, look, I lost this game even though my opponent disconnected. I'll GG out, and love to see players like that do just playing in these games.
Yeah, and I mean, great job to both teams. And like you were saying, I love seeing manner. And it wasn't just, you know, Parker's manner of getting out. It was everybody GG'd. Everybody was there, you know, the entire game. There was nothing where, you know, it was trash talking or anything too crazy. It was all just, you know what? We're here to play. We're here to do our best. Everybody did. And in the end, Clarity came out on top. So with that being said, tomorrow, do we have a cast? Was it tomorrow? Or is it next week?
I believe it starts next week.
Okay, so it is going to be next week. We'll try and go ahead and post that in the chat, kind of when exactly it's going to be next week. But you know what? If you really want to have it all just right there for you, go ahead and press that follow button right here. And you can go ahead and follow UR Gaming, get all the updates, and of course help us out to try and get that partnership with Twitch.